So hi everybody. So we are making throat balls today. Yay! So I'm really excited about making the throat balls because I know that everybody has been really looking forward to them. So here we go. So the first component of throat balls that you're going to need is a bowl to put everything in. You'll also need something to put the throat balls on afterwards. I just have a little plate here because you need to roll them. You also need to dry your throat balls afterwards. And if you dry them, what the nice thing is about that is then you can keep them for well over a year just in a glass jar, and they'll keep perfectly, and they also last longer in your mouth, more like a lozenge. So the first ingredient we're gonna have is see if that you can see it, is slippery elm bark powder. So that's our first element that we are going to add. And I'm making a really small batch, guys, because I already have some throat balls, which is why this video took so long, is I'm still working through my last batch. So we're gonna add just 1 spoonful of the slippery elm bark powder. We also are going to add Eleuthero Root Powder. You can see that there. Going to add that, and we're going to add the same exact amount, just 1 spoonful. So it's 1 part. So this way you can make a bigger batch if you want, but know that start with a small batch and then build your way up. We're also going to add Comfrey Root Powder. So you can see that there. So these are all mucilaginous herbs, and they are herbs that are going to help coat the throat and make it more comfortable when you have a cold or a cough or any sort of infection of the throat. So we're actually going to add, so I like to add 1.5 parts Comfrey Root powder. If you don't want to add the Comfrey Root powder, you can always add a little bit more Eleuthero Root. And probably the most important component that we're going to be adding is our Goldenseal root powder. So this is incredibly important. This is your infection fighter. This is what is going to really get at that infection and kill anything that you might have going on in there. And again, you're going to add the same amount, 1 part. I just did halves there, so because I was trying to get it out of the bag. Just gonna seal that up because you do not want to waste your Goldenseal, everybody. Okay, and then the next thing that we're gonna add in. Now at this point you can add other things. This is a recipe that you can actually really tailor to what you need. This recipe I want just for the infection fighting and for the mucilaginous component. And so I'm actually not going to add in a couple of other things, mainly because I'm out of them. But the 2 other ingredients that I would be adding in, and that you need to add in powder form, guys, that's the key. See, this is all in powder form. It needs to be in a powder form. So the last 2 ingredients that I would add to this would be licorice root and echinacea. And that would be Echinecea Root Powder. So that's Augustafolia root powder, not Echinacea purpurea. The root has more of the medicinal qualities in it for these purposes. It's more bang for your buck. So the key to the licorice root is really the mucilaginous properties. It's going to coat the throat, and it's really going to make that throat feel amazing, and it's really going to help with any coughs or colds that you have. Problem is, I only have licorice root in its root form, and same with echinacea right now. I'm actually out. So, and you need to have it in powder form. Now I could use my mortar and pestle here, but I have tried that in the past, and you just can't get that quite fine powdered quality that you really need. So I highly recommend, guys, Mountain Rose Herbs or any other quality herb store. You really need to make sure you get the powdered herbs for this. Okay? So then the next step in these is going to be the honey. And I always say get raw honey. And the reason why you want to get raw honey is because honey is also part of the medicine. So honey contains so many wonderful ingredients in it that can help with things like asthma. It also coats the throat. It's a superfood. It's amazing. All right, so I'm just going to get a little bit of honey in there, not too much. I'm just going to stir that up. That all worked in. I always end up making a bigger batch than I need to make. And that's just sort of what always ends up happening to me. So the key with honey, guys, is to add it in small amounts. Add it a tablespoon at a time and stir it around, because every batch is going to be just a little bit different for how much honey you need. It depends on the moisture in the air. So keep mixing it around. So guys, I totally got cut off there in my last take. And I started talking and mixing, and lo and behold, I wasn't filming. So what I was saying is that you need to add your honey in stages, because it's always going to be a little bit different how much honey you need. So you want to keep mixing until you get a good bread-like consistency. Once you get that, you're going to add Carob powder. So I have that here. And I've already added the Carob powder, as you can see. And it starts to look a little bit more dark. And then the next thing that I add, after I add the Carob powder, is I add my flavoring. This is really important because the Goldenseal and the other herbs are very bitter, and no one's going to take a throat ball if it tastes awful. So you need to have something that tastes good. And normally I would use an essential oil, but I'm actually out of that. So the other thing, and we're gonna kind of slum it today, the other thing that you can use is extract. As long as it's an alcohol base and not glycerin, you can use extract. So we are using peppermint and extract today, and I've already put some in. Now it takes a while to kind of figure out what your flavoring is, what you like for the extract. Play around with it, keep tasting it. All it's gonna do is help your throat while you're doing it. And then keep mixing it. You need to have this dough-like consistency that you see here, where you can kind of see, I can make a little ball out of it pretty easily. So once you do that, and you get your Carob powder, and you get your peppermint extract to where you like it, you're gonna roll a little ball about that big, and you can see next to my finger, that's how big the ball is. And then I like to, now you can, if you want to be really truly organic, you can roll it in more Carob powder. But as you can see here, I actually have cocoa powder that I'm rolling it in. And what's nice about the cocoa powder is that it makes your throat balls taste like chocolate mint. It's yummy. We like chocolate mint. So do keep these away from kids, guys. However, they are safe for children to have. You just need to limit how many they have. That's all. So if they have a sore throat, they can certainly have one. As long as they're old enough to have honey, guys. That's the key. No kids under 1. But, you know, that 7-year-old with that cough that they come home with and they have a sore throat, give them one of these chocolate mint throat balls and they won't even know that they're taking good herbs without side effects. So as you can see here, I have my throat balls all rolled up. And what I'm going to do is just place them on a cookie sheet with a little bit of aluminum foil. And I'm just going to put them in my oven with the pilot light. And for about 24 hours, let them dry. They'll dry, they'll get nice and shriveled up. And then when they're done, I can put them in a jar like this. And you can see I'll have my throat balls here, nice and dried, ready to go anytime I need them. So guys, that is how you make throat balls. I hope that you enjoyed the tutorial today and that you will have some throat balls in your future to help with all those coughs and colds and anytime that you get that sore throat. And this will help with the infection on the throat, and it will also help coat the throat and make it feel all sorts of good and wonderful. And you can have lots of these. You know, you can the dosages, they're very small. You know, take a couple of them when you need them. And when they're dry, they last nicely and they coat the throat. So I hope you all are going to have a wonderful week. Finally getting this video up to you all. I've also had some requests to do some book recommendations. So if you'd like me to recommend or speak about a particular book, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. And if I've read it and if I know it, then I will try and make a video about it. But I'm also going to make a couple of videos about books that I have found particularly useful for myself and for friends and family. So the next video that will be upcoming for Herbal series will be face cream. So hopefully I'll have that out to you fairly soon. But as always, guys, blessed be.